It's 8 p.m. Good evening, and thank you so much for joining us on Newsplus. My name is Francisca Msheche, and these are your top stories tonight. President Emmerson Mnangagwa today met 39 students who have been granted scholarships under the EDUNZA Scholarship Trust. From that lot, 21 have been enrolled for the February and August 2025 intakes, with the rest already conducting their studies. The students will study for various degrees that include medicine, law, and electronic engineering, among others. Stay tuned to Newsplus for an extract of his speech during the meeting. Later in the bulletin, we shall be joined live by a senior official from the Vehicle Inspectorate Department to discuss the issue of retesting of driver's license holders. We give you the latest on deliberations at the SADC Ministerial Committee on Environmental and Tourism meeting, where SADC countries took stock of the region's conservation regulatory framework. And in sport, we look at the Chevron's preparation for the historic test match against England, which starts on Thursday. And now in news in great detail, President Emmerson Mnangagwa has underscored the need for Zimbabweans to actively participate in science-related fields of study, highlighting its positive contribution towards nation building. During an interface with students under the Emmerson Mnangagwa University of Zambia Scholarship Program at State House in Harare today, the president said government has made it top priority to enhance the country's learning facilities.
Requisite science and technological skills are key to the modernization and industrialization of not only our motherland, Zimbabwe, but also the entire SADC and Africa at large. In line with the skills gap and human capital needs identified during the National Critical Skills Audit, which I commissioned in 2018, upskilling and training in science, technology, engineering, biomedical fields, and receiving priority support from my administration. So I would persuade you young people, boys and girls, to make sure you have the bias towards these areas of study. Parents and schools are encouraged to deliberately channel more learners towards these fields so that our people can fully participate in and benefit from the highly competitive, modern and knowledge-based economic environment of today. To this end, I commend the trustees for ensuring that the STEM fields are well represented under the current scholarship beneficiaries. This is a scholarship fund established in November 2019 with the broad objective of addressing inequalities in terms of access to affordable education. The program is designed for academically gifted learners from vulnerable households.
Some of the beneficiaries expressed gratitude towards the initiative, saying they have been afforded a rare opportunity to improve their livelihoods. The scholarship initiative was established in 2019 and affords assistance to excelling students from underprivileged communities in both Zimbabwe and Zambia.
Someone studying law, right? This is such a great opportunity for me. It means a lot because, yeah, of course, from where we come from, we cannot afford this, but it really means a lot. And I hope to own a law firm one of the days and give back to the community.
And I really appreciate this opportunity that I've been given by His Excellency, the President of the Republic of Zimbabwe. And I hope to do something because I'm inspired with what he's doing. So I believe with God's grace and hard working, I'll accomplish something.
Earlier on, President Mnangagwa received a truckload of an assortment of groceries meant for donation to the underprivileged. The donation was made by local businessman Tinashe Mahowa.
I don't think it's a question of having bigger pockets. It's a question of being very human. Most of these people give this as a result of feeling that the others who really do not have, and they have that heart to give. Not that they have too much for themselves, but just the willingness to share. This is what I believe.
Moving on with our stories, Vice President Kembo Mohadi earlier today met with the Special Presidential Investment Advisor to Bangladesh, Vietnam and Thailand, Elish Patel, with the two discussing a targeted investment strategy aimed at drawing a new wave of investors from Southeast Asia. Zimbabwe is poised to deepen its economic partnerships with the three Asian countries, marking a step forward in ongoing efforts to strengthen international investment partnerships and diversify sources of foreign direct investment. Speaking after meeting VP Mohadi at his offices in Harare, Patel said the investment scope will be broad, ranging from mainstream manufacturing and mining to tourism and high-tech sectors.
So we just discussed very briefly the caliber of investors that we are going to bring into Zimbabwe. And the scope would be wide enough from manufacturing, mining, tourism, and specialized manufacturing.
The motoring public has reacted with shock at media reports suggesting that the Vehicle Inspectorate Department, VID, will require all drivers' license holders to undergo retesting. The supposed new measures have been widely criticized on social media, with many questioning its necessity and feasibility. Now, to get clarity on the actual position and what license holders should brace for, we are joined live by Alawes Sango, the Director of Road Motor Transportation at the VID. Good evening, Mr. Sango. Now, let us know, what's the actual position on this retesting issue?
Having said this, we wish to correct the wrong impression that no driver shall be required to undergo a new road test at the expiry of their driving licenses in 5 years. And the correct position is that while the new driving licenses that will expire at the end of every 5 years, in conformity with SADC protocols, their renewal is merely premised on 1, checking a medical examination, having an eye test redone, capturing of their personal details, and capturing of their biometrics.
Mr. Sango would like to know, what are the reasons behind this decision, considering that it has caused a lot of confusion?
The basis of the above practice is that medical conditions and facial impressions of drivers change over time. And as such, the government needs to ascertain through the assurance that drivers are still fit to drive and that they are bona fide holders of their licenses.
Before we let you go, could you comment on the direction you are taking with public service drivers?
The government, in its wisdom, after careful consultations and considerations, drafted and made it lawful and mandatory for public service drivers to be retested through the implementation of Statutory Instrument 168 of 2006. These are the drivers who carry out commercial business or who are driving vehicles that are engaged in hire and reward, from taxis, commuter, omnibuses, the bigger buses, and any other trucks as well, small, and those that are above 10 tons. This was brought about by the spate of serious fatal accidents involving both passenger and goods carrying vehicles bringing about loss of lives and damage to properties and assets.
Thank you for your time. That was Allowance Sango, Director of Road Motor Transportation, VID, clarifying the license retesting process. Moving on with our stories, the SADC Ministerial Committee on Environment and Tourism convened in Harare to take stock of regulatory frameworks in the sector. The meeting also sought to come up with strategies to improve transfrontier conservation areas and regional tourism.
Transfrontier conservation areas connect nature and nations, but man-made challenges like poaching and deforestation continue to pose major threats to these shared ecological regions. On one end, climate change also exerts its fair share of pressures, and ecotourism development is often a casualty. This has amplified the urgent need for SADC member states to speak with one voice and act with one accord to address these challenges.
Elephant poaching peaked, I'm told, in 2011, resulting in the killing of elephants, or many elephants, across Africa. Although poaching has somewhat declined, it still remains worrisome in some parts of southern Africa. On average, SADC loses 0.6% of its forest cover annually. To address this, the region is implementing collective measures to conserve forest and reduce.
Global pandemics have in the past dealt major shocks to tourism-dependent economies. In Zimbabwe, effects of the COVID-19 pandemic saw tourist visits dropping by almost 2 million in 2021. Consequently, revenues in tourism receipts fell from $1.1 billion in 2019 to $397 million in 2021. While there has since been a rebound in the sector, experts contend that it has not been significant. More remains to be done.
Let us therefore use this statutory platform not only to review performance, but to strengthen alignment, enhance coordination, and catalyze performance action. We must move from dialogue to delivery.
The SADC bloc is working on creating more resilient strategies to strengthen conservation areas and tourism. However, adopting proposed strategies is still a challenge for some member states. Currently, only 5 SADC members have implemented the Uni-Visa agreement to boost the intra-travel for tourists.
Whilst 8 member states have ratified this protocol, the slow pace of ratification has delayed its entry into force. I urge member states who have not yet signed and ratified this instrument to do so and facilitate cooperation in addressing transboundary environmental challenges.
What seems to be key is that member states commit to implementing proposed measures, post-summits and meetings. Such commitments will play a pivotal role in enhancing the TFCA and regional tourism. For ZTN Prime, I am Sitajisiwe Gwaza.
When we come back, we look at the story of the meeting between the U.S. President and Cyril Ramaphosa.
The National Social Security Authority, NASA, would like to inform all registered employers of the waiver of penalties related to the late submission of P4 returns. All employers with outstanding P4 submissions, penalties for the period January 2024 to November 2024 are eligible to apply, subject to the following conditions: submitting a formal letter for waiver by 30 June 2025, uploading all outstanding P4 returns to current, settling the principal POBS and APWCS contribution and premiums arrears, updating employees' records to match active employees declared against employee listing. This initiative is part of NASA's ongoing commitment to enhance social security coverage while supporting employers facing financial constraints. For more information, contact any NASA office or numbers appearing on your screen. NASA, a lifelong promise.
Didn't graduate. I guess I blew it. You couldn't advise him anything. He would just look at you and say, so who do you think you are?
We were just like really spoiled.
And then they just give me the receipt
not paid.
That guy walks in one day and then he says that he wants to make a movie.
He was blowing the money.
There was just like this habit that he had where as soon as he got money, it was gone.
I just didn't have the skills or the experience.
This money, I could see it disappear so fast.
Welcome back and thank you for staying with us. In other news, South African President Cyril Ramaphosa met with US President Donald Trump at the White House today to discuss strained relations between the two countries amid Trump's claims of white genocide in South Africa. Ramaphosa aimed to reset ties, rejecting Trump's assertions as patently false and emphasizing that South Africa's land expropriation law aims to readdress historical inequalities from the apartheid era. Trump had criticized the law and admitted around 50 white South Africans as refugees, citing persecution. The meeting culminated with President Ramaphosa emphasizing South Africa's commitment to inclusive land reform and reconciliation, while President Trump acknowledged progress but urged protections for minority communities. Here are some of the highlights from the meeting.
Yamaza, kill the brewer, the farmer, kill the brewer, the farmer. Pa, pa, pa. Shoot to kill. Yamaza, kill the brewer, the farmer, kill the brewer, the farmer.
Now, we're going to talk about it, but this is a tremendous, look, this is story recent. These are all people that recently got killed. And I don't know how it can get any worse. These are and you know, the men that you saw, the people that you saw in that movie, those are officials. Those are people that were in office. They had one march, they had a dance in your parliament, whatever you may call it, legislature.
Let me clarify that.
Yeah.
Let me clarify that, because what you saw, the speeches that were being made, one, that is not government policy. We have a multi-party democracy in South Africa that allows people to express themselves, political parties to adhere to various policies, and in many cases, or in some cases, those policies do not go along with government policy.
And now to discuss the outcome from the meeting between Washington and Pretoria, we are joined live by Zimpepa's group political editor, Ranga Mataire. Good evening, Ranga. Now tell us, what is your assessment of the just ended meeting between South African President Ramaphosa and US President Donald Trump on the land issue in Africa, especially looking at EFF leader Julius Malema remained the central point of reference. Does this not put him on a pedestal to push his agenda?
Thank you so much, Francisca. I think what was on display is the two leaders met, President Ramaphosa of South Africa and also President Trump of the United States of America, is that I think they both lived to their billing, so to speak. You have President Ramaphosa, who is famed for his negotiation skills, which were honed during the transition from apartheid to independent South Africa, maintaining his cool and sticking to the script, so to speak. There were some moments in their engagement where also President Trump wanted to stick into his script and started brandishing some news reports which included stories that he alleged that whites were being persecuted, and even had the temerity to even make put a video, and then in that video there was opposition leader Julius Malema, who was chanting a song which is well known in South Africa, "Kill the Boer" song. And I think President Ramaphosa was able to deflect that by saying that Malema does not represent the majority of South Africans, and that he was not in government. He was not a government official, but an opposition official. So I think, yes, to a certain extent, it's political mileage for Julius Malema, but I think it also exposes the glaring, sort of information that might be available to President Trump in terms of concocted information about why it's being persecuted.
All right, Ranga, we understand that the South African delegation brought along with it members of the Government of National Unity and also private business people, close links to President Trump. What was the significance of this move?
I think that was a masterstroke on President Ramaphosa. I think it was a masterstroke because as you are aware, the Trump administration was alleging that a lot of white farmers were being killed and that there was a genocide unfolding. So I think it was important for President Ramaphosa to bring non-state actors, most of whom were whites. But he didn't just bring non-state actors randomly. He took along two of the prominent golfers. He also took along one of the big business person in South Africa, Johan Rupert, and also brought trade union representative, all of which had different perspective on South Africa, but with a common message that they want more investment, they want to reset the relationship, and that the problem of South Africa is not necessarily that whites were under persecution, but it's a problem of crime. And all of them were appealing to President Trump to provide technical assistance, including technology, to deal with this rampant crime, which is not just targeting whites, but also people across the race divide. So I think it was a masterstroke on behalf of the South African delegation to bring a diverse team of non-state actors and state actors. I think they also managed to deflate what the Trump administration was alleging as being the persecution of former white farmers, particularly of African origin.
Lastly, before we let you go, do you think South Africa clarified its issues pertaining to the purported white genocide?
I think fundamentally South Africa was able to put across its message. And its message was that the United States of America is an important key player in the economic development of South Africa. You might be aware that second to China, United States of America is the second largest trading partner of South Africa. So they managed to put across the message that they need more investment from America. They even highlighted that about 600 companies are currently invested in South Africa, creating 500,000 worth of employment. And they managed also, like the trade union representative, managed to reinforce the idea that AGOA must be renewed. AGOA is up for renewal, and Trump has not indicated whether he's going to renew that. So they highlighted that if AGOA is not renewed, there is a likelihood that lots of jobs are going to be lost. But also fundamental was the issue that they managed to convince Trump to be part of G20, because so far Trump had not indicated whether he still wants to be part of the G20, but all the representatives of President Ramaphosa managed to reinforce the importance of the United States of America to be part of G20, and that there is a tinge of likelihood that the President of America will likely attend the G20 summit scheduled for November this year.
Thank you, Mr. Mataire, for joining us on Newsplus. Coming back home, authorities have officially launched the presidential stance for veterans of the liberation struggle, a landmark initiative aimed at honoring the veterans through the allocation of residential land. The program seeks to provide secure and dignified housing to war veterans who played a critical role in securing the nation's independence. Prevail Group International would develop the stance, starting with 50,000, and will provide all the necessary services. Minister Gare said the program reflected the government's deep appreciation of the sacrifices made by liberation war heroes.
Section 23 of the Constitution of the Republic of Zimbabwe has got provisions for looking after war veterans in terms of a quota system, that 20% of the developments taking place in the country in various economic spheres must be set aside for war veterans. We are here to honor that provision in the Constitution by today signing a memorandum of agreement between the Minister of Local Government and Public Works, the Minister of War Veterans Affairs, and our developer for the construction to completion of developments for stands for war veterans throughout our 10 provinces.
The Presidential Stands program forms part of a broader national strategy to uplift historically marginalized groups and ensure inclusive development anchored in respect, equity and justice. Veterans Minister Mavunga said 50,000 war vets were set to benefit from the initiative. He added that there will be no room for corruption during the vetting process.
The first phase is to benefit about 50,000 war veterans, which is a substantial number, and as a ministry responsible for the identification and the final allocation of these stands, we are going to do this transparently, and we promise everyone in this country that we are not going to be found on the side of those who are corrupt.
Start the work as discussed before, so that the war veterans can also benefit from these initiatives.
Zimbabwe is exploring the use of nanotechnology in road construction to improve durability in the face of frequent harsh weather conditions that destroy infrastructure. This was revealed by Transport Minister Felix Mona during the National Assembly's question and answer session earlier today. Nanotechnology in road construction uses materials that have enhanced bonding, increased strength, and that are waterproof.
Makore oga oga tanga tiri kuona kuti tinoenda tinogreda mugwagwa yedu mvura yoya yokukura, asiko zvino nebandiko redu tichifurikidza neresearch and development takuona kuti pane zvatinokwanisa kushandisa, ingave mishonga inoita kuti ibate ivhu redu rosimba, torega kuramba tichidzoka tichigredha mugwagwa yedu, togona kugara kwemakore kana 5 tichingomaintaina mugwagwa wedu iwoyo, inonzi nanotechnology pachirungu. Saka tiri kutsvakurudza, takapedza kuona tava nemakambani anoti anokwanisa kutipa mishonga iyoyo, ndopachinhano chatiriko zvino.
As the world celebrated World Bee Day on Tuesday, Bindura University of Science Education is exploring how bees can be a powerful force for both agricultural innovation and community empowerment. More in the following report.
At the heart of Bindura University and Mazoe Beekeepers Association, collaboration is the objective to develop sustainable bee-centered solutions. This is being done through training and short courses to equip local farmers with vital beekeeping knowledge, and a queen rearing project that has just been launched.
Most people think that we can only produce honey from beekeeping, but there are many other products that also take a lot of money. We have products such as royal jelly, products such as propolis, pollen, beeswax. All these projects actually fetch a lot of money for farmers. So in this short courses, we actually teach the farmers how to have such kind of products.
The Mazoe Beekeepers Association has been working with 500 bee farmers from Chiweshe to Shamva.
My farmers edu, we support my farmers in Mazoe, vaya vanoita mablueberry, vanoita zvinhu zvinoda kuti nyuchi dzinge dziripo. Zvamunoziva zuva ranhasi, tiri kukoshesa nyuchi nokuti pasina nyuchi hatiwani mafruits, hatiwani mavegetables, hatiwani kudya. Nyika inogona kutoguma nyuchi dzikashaika. Saka tiripo seMazoe Beekeepers Association pakupemberera nevamwe vedu ti raise awareness kuti nyuchi dzakakoshei muupenyu hwedu.
As the province prepares to launch the fire season, there is emphasis on the importance of preserving bees and forests.
Munyaya dzekusatemwa kwemiti takatarisana nemwaka wemoto watapinda apo tiri kutaura kuti nyuchi dzakatikoshera dzine hochekoche nenharaunda mukubatsira nyaya dzepollination uyezve munharaunda dzakasiyana siyana kwatiri kuvati vaite mawoodlots takabatana pamwe chete neforest commission zvichibatsira kuti nyuchi idzodzi dzireduce tragedy of the commons pamwe chete munharaunda kuti vanhu vasatemeteme miti uyezve zvinozokonzeresa land degradation munharaunda dzatigere.
One of the farmers said some of their flagship products is honey wine, a mild beverage with low alcohol content.
Tinovaluate wine, honey wine. Honey wine is a mild wine. Inogadzirwa neuchi nemvura. Haidi zvinhu zvakawanda, uchi nemvura. We leave it to ferment for up to 6 weeks. Ichifermenta, then tochizoita refine it. Vanhu vomwa zvavo inenge yakanaka haina alcohol content yakawanda plus taigadzira neuchi hune ma health properties azo ma antioxidants ma anti-inflammatories saka iwine yakanaka yokuti vanhu vanogona kumwa zvavo wine iyoyo.
Now, since each bee only produces about a teaspoon of honey in its lifetime, people are urged to avoid wasting honey.
Anoita kuti nyuchi anotrapiswa nyuchi nepropolis nelip balm nefoot and dew nemanga nelemon-grass oyo yekutrapa nyuchi pamwe pinch mahive mako dzinouya.
These specialized techniques will be used in the innovation, involving artificially stimulating the production of queen bees, which will then be distributed to farmers, significantly improving honey production. Happy World Bee Day. For ZTN Prime, I'm Talent Gore.
The Ministry of Public Service, Labour and Social Welfare is calling for a transformation of national employment councils from traditional dispute settling bodies to modern institutions that drive productivity and economic growth. The call was made at the annual NEC symposium held in Bulawayo. The ministry also announced that it was developing a labour market information system to revolutionize how employment councils operate by providing real-time labour data, helping match skills with job market needs, and improving transparency in collective bargaining.
The NEC for Brick and Clay, they translated their collective bargaining agreement into Chinese, and also we have the NEC Agriculture, who have translated their collective bargaining agreement into Shona and Eastern Ndebele, because those who are farming, the larger number of the people who are farming, so you can see that there is miscommunication. They don't know the code of conduct because they are written in English, and they don't even know their rights. So it benefits the farmers for them to read the code of conduct and the collective bargaining agreements in Shona and also in Eastern Ndebele.
So how do those the translation into local languages help in terms of like also upholding the rights of the employers, those who are employed, so that they also have an appreciation of those CBAs in their local languages?
The CBA's translation helps both the employer and the employee.
To improve communication with foreign investors, some NECs have begun translating their collective bargaining agreements. NEC's Coordinating Committee Chairperson Nomo Nema, speaking at this same event, called for NECs to rise to the challenge of the future through building innovative, transformational structures that not only resolve disputes but also shape industries and protect the workforce.
As we can see with the IA, things are changing, right? The future of jobs are being threatened, and we have to be innovative as the National Employment Councils. We have to address the issue of formalization of the informal sector and also educate our technocrats towards digital transformation to ensure that we address future jobs. we are operating of an economy whereby the future of jobs we no longer know, because there's robotics now, there's artificial intelligence which have taken over our jobs. So we need to move with time, because the future generation right now, they've transformed into digitalization. So we are here as NEC to capacitate that, to ensure that the labor market actually embrace artificial intelligence. We are also to capacitate leadership, to ensure that leadership here actually is transparent. Leadership has got ethical leadership in everything, decisions which we are making as an economy, because we want to attain Vision 2030.
Up next is a crime and courts update with Kimberly Chimbalanga.
A court interpreter at the Mbare Magistrates Court, Tadiwa Nashe Chikomo, appeared in court charged with abuse of duty after he threw away trap money. Chikomo allegedly approached the complainant, whose husband had been arrested for wearing a camouflage uniform, and offered to help with his release. He allegedly charged $200 before he was given $120 and promised the remaining balance on the next remand date. Chikomo was then apprehended by the police soon after pocketing the trap money, which he threw away before trying to escape. He was remanded in custody to May 23 for bail ruling. Moving on, a Mutare woman, Lisa Chivasa, has been charged with fraud after she submitted a forged ZIMSEC ordinary level certificate to Parirenyatwa School of Nursing. Allegations are that the certificate which Lisa handed had grades that did not match with her original certificate for the required subjects in nursing school. She was granted $50 United States bail and will return to court on June 23. Still at the courts, a Harare man, Forget Uzande, had his bail revoked by the court after he failed to abide by bail conditions. Uzande appeared in court early this May, charged for attempted rape. He was granted bail and ordered to reside at an alternative address where he was not to interfere with witnesses. However, Uzande went back to reside at the address from which he had been barred by the court. The court ruled that court orders should be taken seriously and no one is above the law before ordering Uzande to reapply for bail. For TN Prime, I'm Kimberly Chimbalanga in Harare.
In news from around the world, China is committed to expanding its investment in Africa by further promoting corporate cooperation in various fields, according to a commerce official. At a news conference in Beijing, Shen Xiang, director of the West Asia and Africa Department under the Ministry of Commerce, briefed the media on the current landscape of Chinese investment in Africa.
近年来呢，非洲国家经济稳步的发展，整体营商环境不断的改善，中国企业对非投资的意愿也显著增强。根据我们的统计啊，在过去5年中，中国企业对非直接投资年均保持在30亿美元以上，投资项目涉及广泛的领域，同时，中国对非洲投资主体更加多元。
We'll be back with more stories. Stay tuned.
With Showmax, your favorite characters now follow you anywhere. Download it today and watch the best in local, international, and everything in between.
Didn't graduate? I guess I blew it.
You couldn't advise him anything. He would just look at you and say, so who do you think you are?
We were just like really spoilt.
And then they just give me the receipt and I'd pay.
The guy walks in one day and then he says that he wants to make a movie.
He was blowing the money.
There was just like this habit that he had where as soon as he got money, it was gone.
I just didn't have the skills or the experience.
This money, I could see it disappear so fast.
Welcome back and thank you for staying with us. In business news, Victoria Falls Stock Exchange listed property firm Westprop today broke ground for its new Radisson Hotel Apartments project in Harare, adding to its growing portfolio of premium properties. Ibn Mabunda and Bruce Chinembiri were on the ground.
Now, history was made in Zimbabwe's capital, Harare, today with the official groundbreaking ceremony for the Radisson Hotel Apartments in Pomona, Borodo West residential area. Now, this new facility will house a good 148 self-contained apartments. Situated at Westprop's Millennium Heights, the 13.5 million facility is expected to be complete in 6 months' time.
So on the 3rd of December 2024, we signed the Head of Terms Agreement, and the International Management Agreement, which is the substantive contract between Westprop Holdings Limited and the Radisson Group, was signed on the 15th of May this year. And that brought us to the point where we are today, where we are now groundbreaking on the first Radisson product in Zimbabwe.
As part of a partnership with the Radisson Group, the project will also be financed through internally generated funds and through a new real estate investment trust. The apartment hotel will bear the Radisson brand, a major player in the global hotel sector with over 40,000 rooms to its name the world over.
Of this new partnership, and extremely proud to do this together for the country of Zimbabwe. So very short conclusion to the government, to the people of Zimbabwe, to Kenshaw and to Westprop. Thank you for welcoming me.
The local government minister Daniel Garwe, who presided over the groundbreaking, said the development was in line with the national human settlement policy, whose thrust advances vertical building construction.
The president just launched the national human settlement policy. One of the pillars in that policy was building better vertically. It's a great honor to be guest of honor on this great day, where one of the most modern hotels are going to be constructed.
Provincial Minister Charles Tawengwa expressed government's pride in the project and stated the government's ongoing efforts to improve the business environment and attract investment.
As your resident minister, I am honored to be part of today's historic event that adds to the gross domestic product and the overall infrastructural growth of Harare metropolitan province.
9.86 million bricks are now in the ground as Westprop, a listed firm on the Victoria Falls Stock Exchange, endeavors to hit 1 billion bricks by 2050. Ibn Mabunda, reporting for ZTN Prime in Harare.
As the investor confidence in Zimbabwe continues to rise, the Zimbabwe Investment and Development Agency, ZIDA, says the country must accelerate infrastructure development to meet growing demand. The agency's chief executive, Tafadzwa Chinamo, said government has already taken bold steps to improve the ease of doing business, laying the groundwork for a more competitive investment climate. In the first quarter of 2025, the agency approved 207 new investment licenses. ZIDA remains optimistic that Zimbabwe's transformation agenda, underpinned by infrastructure and investment reforms, will continue to attract interest across multiple sectors.
The government wants that journey of an investor to be as smooth and as easy as possible. Obviously, this takes two fronts. There's the ease in which actually the physical business can be done. So we don't know the infrastructure that we have. Like I said, our infrastructure is there. It needs upgrading and modernizing. But also just the softer things that, the interaction that business has with the regulatory bodies, with government agencies. So it's something that we are also working on, and I'll speak a little bit about that. Incentives are something that I've spoken about quite a lot. The approach that we take obviously is that let it be beneficial to both parties.
The Competition and Tariff Commission, CTC, has reported a busy first quarter of 2025 following a productive 2024, during which it handled an uptick in both major notifications and restrictive practice investigations. 14 local major decisions were finalized last year, 10 were unconditionally approved, 3 conditionally approved, and 1 prohibited. The Commission noted that in 2024, despite policy uncertainty around the 2023 general election, overall major activities activity held steady after 3 years of decline. The report states that public interest considerations, including employment levels, were prominent in determining outcomes, while stakeholder representatives played a critical role in informing the determination. Stand by for entertainment news up next.
The future is now, and it's powered by artificial intelligence. Zim Papers proudly presents the 2025 AI Conference, a groundbreaking event happening on the 30th of May in Mutare at Manicaland State University of Applied Sciences. Join leading AI experts, researchers, innovators, and institutions already applying artificial intelligence to solve real-world challenges, from media and agriculture to education and finance. Whether you are a business stakeholder, a tech enthusiast, a student, or simply curious about how AI is changing our world, this conference is for you. Don't miss this opportunity to learn, connect, and be part of Zimbabwe's digital future. For marketing and exhibition, contact Tendai Mberibe on 0772 671 488. Zim Papers AI Conference 2025. Advancing innovation, empowering Zimbabwe.
In entertainment news, Bulawayo celebrated cultural ensemble Kaya Arts is set to take the heartbeat of Matebeleland to the National Culture Month celebrations taking place tomorrow at Rusununguko Clinic Open Grounds in Cherezi, Masvingo Province. The high-profile event, which will be officiated by President Emmerson Mnangagwa, will run under the theme Celebrating Indigenous Voices and aims to promote Zimbabwe's diverse traditional languages, attire, cuisine, and arts as vital pillars of identity and social cohesion. After nearly 2 decades of shaping Zimbabwe's modeling industry, veteran instructor and director Kaya Elihle Pardon is stepping away from the runway lights, drawing the curtain on a stellar career that has redefined pageantry and nurtured some of the country's finest talent. And names synonymous with style, innovation, and mentorship, Kaya has announced his retirement from the modeling world and will celebrate his illustrious journey with a retirement party scheduled for June 7. US singer Chris Brown has been freed on bail by a court in London after being charged with launching an unprovoked attack in a nightclub in 2023. The Grammy-winning star, who has not yet been asked to enter a plea in the case, is able to begin his world tour next month as planned as part of his bail conditions. He was arrested last week and later charged with grievous bodily harm over an incident in which he allegedly attacked a music producer with tequila bottle at the Tep nightclub in London's Mayfair. Sports news up next. Stay tuned. In sports news, Zimbabwe faced South Africa in the group stages of the 2025 Hollywood Bets COSAFA Cup set for South Africa. According to the draw conducted today, the two rivals will meet in Group A with Mozambique and Mauritius. Angola, Namibia, Malawi and Lesotho will be in Group B. Guest country Morocco will be in 3-team Group C along with Madagascar and Eswatini. Zambia, who have the highest number of titles and are favorites, are in Group D with Comoros and Botswana. Moving on with our sports stories, Ngezi Platinum Stars are experiencing a bad patch in construct with their strong start to the season. The 2023 league champions were among the pace setters in the opening rounds of matches before the blip. Despite the pressure and questions around them, belief is still high in the team.
Ngezi Platinum Stars started the season in top form, securing 4 wins and a draw in their opening 5 matches to edge as one of the early season favourites. However, 4 draws and 3 defeats in their last 7 games have left them in mid-table, with a third of the season already played. The team has often put in eye-catching performances but struggled to kill off matches. Despite their recent struggles, Ngezi still have their eyes on the ball and reaffirm their belief in the system.
As a team, we've got some things that we want to achieve as a team, as a brand, as a big institution, as Ngezi Platinum Stars. We want to be champions. That's our aim since pre-season. As you see, when we start our season, started well, and now we are in a great phase, which is, we believe that we are going to pass this phase, because in football there is phases, so we are going to pass this phase.
Over the past 2 seasons, Ngezi have relied on the goal-scoring exploits of Takunda Benura. The young star admits to feeling the pressure to deliver, but has absolute faith in the team's potential to turn around their fortunes. The message from some of the seasoned campaigners at the club is a simple call to action by putting in an extra shift.
We are a team which is united, so even if we fail to win, we drew, we still remain united. That's the only message that we keep. Let's keep on united. One day is our day. We're going to win and start our momentum going on.
There is little time though for Ngezi to dwell on their challenges, with games coming in fast. Up next for them is a Dynamo side seeking to also find form after an appalling start to the season. The onus is now on Madamburo to translate their faith into action and secure the much-needed 3 points in matchday 13.
The 4-day test match between Zimbabwe and England, the first since 2003, begins at Trent Bridge on Thursday. The big question has been, will Zimbabwe be competitive enough to be counted? Earlier on, we crossed over to Ruvimbo Chakoreka to give his thoughts on the test match. We first asked him what is likely to change in approach compared to the way the Chevrons approached Bangladesh.
So I think quite a number of approaches that can be taken by Zimbabwe. Well, concerned to the Bangladesh approach, usually you do tend to get spinning pitches, flat pitches in Bangladesh, but you will get life in England pitches, expected to be seaming around. And we know with the juke ball, which is the ball that they tend to work with, it can be seaming around, especially early on in the morning, and of course maybe be able to get a little bit of reverse swing as you continue to go along. It really is all dependent on who wins the toss on the day. If Zimbabwe is to win the toss and to bat first, then they must expect maybe the first 10 to 15 overs to be quite difficult. But hopefully the likes of Brian Bennett and Ben Curran might just be able to also exercise aggression, because they love the hard new ball. But also on the other hand, if they do lose the toss, then they can expect as well to try and take advantage of what will be available with the new ball, with the likes of Blessing Muzarabani as well as Richard Ngarava as their seam bowlers. And hopefully if they do take up some early wickets, that will definitely help.
We know Sikandar Raza has since joined the team. What does he bring to the Chevrons?
As to what Raza will bring towards the team, he'll definitely bring a lot of experience, and he'll also bring a lot of some of that international experience, having played also within England setup, having played for the franchise side, so he would know exactly how the pitches work, how they go about business. And I'm sure even the likes of Ben Curran will also be able to offer 1 or 2 words of advice, as well as Gary Ballance, who has been added to the side. So for Sikandar Raza, he'll offer that all-rounder option, come in with the ball, come in with the bat, especially with his aggression lower down the order. That could definitely help. But I think at the end of the day, I think it's more about the international experience and playing on various decks across the world, which will come in handy for Raza.
Golden Eagles made back-to-back wins in the Northern Region Soccer League with a hard-fought 2-1 win over crosstown rivals Black Mambas at Nkushi Academy this afternoon. The Eagles moved up into 4th place on the standings, taking the advantage of Harare City's goalless draw with Black Rhinos.
It's a sweet one. After we lost 2 games in a row, I'm sure that's a good point. We managed to collect maximum points in our last 2 games. We're hoping to get 9 points out of 3 games, so that we can solidify our advantage of fighting for the championship. So far so good. I can say it's very, very important for us. You know, when you win games, something become easy. Or even the motivation becomes high. one game at a time. We are not looking much at the log. We are looking much at how we are playing and how we are supposed to collect points. I think that's very important for us now.
The struggles at home continues for Black Mambas, who are yet to win at Mkushi in 4 matches so far. The winless home run has frustrated the head coach, who called on his young side to rise to the occasion and make their home ground a fortress.
Obviously, I'm disappointed by the result. I can't afford to lose. I've played 4 games at home, 2 defeats, 2 draws. It's not healthy. It's not even healthy. I don't know why these youngsters are doing this. This is not the Mambas you will see when playing away from home. When playing away from home, they will be determined. But come here, in their home ground, at comfort zone, they just complacent, I think. I think it's a matter of complacence. This team consists of youngsters. I think the average age is around 21, 22. So I need to psych them, talk to them, and give them confidence as a coach. I don't know what's happening on this pitch. Every time we concede, every 4 games we played, we concede in every 15 to 20 minutes first half. But then second half, you see these guys, they come back determined, they attack and attack, but it will be late.
That concludes our news bulletin. Thank you so much for joining us on Newsplus. My name is Francisca Amsheche. We now leave you with the weather. Good night.
Welcome back, gospel music lovers, to another season of My Ultimate Gospel